Okay, we are going to start with this base. I got this base from the Dollar Tree, guys. The $1.25 store, actually. But I got this from the Dollar Tree. It is a Christmas tree cone. Very, very great resource for a lot of things. And what we're going to do is we're going to take off the tinsel. All right, and you can just, cut it from one end and then unravel it. Take it off, save it if you want to reuse it. All right, and then once you take it off, you'll be left with this cone base. It does have a lot of little notches on it. You'll have to take something to cut those off. I use my nail clipper and I cut off all the little notches. Okay, but what we're gonna do is we are going to cut off and separate the bottom of this cone from the top. And the bottom of the cone we will put on our tumbler, and the top of the cone we'll put on our topper. So you just want to apply some pressure and snip it right off. This is plastic, so it is not hard to cut, okay? But once you get this off, you'll be left with two separate pieces, and the circle on the top piece will really help in stabilizing this for the topper, okay? If you wanted to, you can cut this piece off or leave it, maybe put a star right in that little notch, but it's up to you. And then you're going to get your tumbler. This is a stainless steel tumbler that we are going to be hot gluing the bottom piece on. Any standard 20-ounce skinny or those slender tumblers will work. I am not sure that this would work for a bigger tumbler because of the lid, okay? But what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your plastic piece and you're going to hot glue that to that part of the tumbler, okay? I went ahead and painted this tumbler white with some acrylic paint, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue on the plastic piece. Okay, so when you're gluing this on, you will want to, go ahead and do just a little bit of glue on the black part at first and then put it on your cup. But after you go ahead and kind of get these pieces glued down, go ahead and reinforce it with some more glue, like kind of on the side. You do not want to have glue dripping down your cup, of course, but because we're going to be adding cardboard and kind of manipulating this, and it is plastic, we do kind of want to make sure that it's not going to move around and move on us. Okay, so just add your hot glue, press it onto your tumbler, and then go ahead and make sure it's straight and not crooked. And then go ahead and add some more hot glue just to reinforce it and make sure everything's good to go. Okay, so if you are going to be using oven baked clay like me, you cannot use anything but hot glue. Okay, so don't go thinking you can go ahead and use UV resin to do this part or any type of E6000. No ma'am, you need to go ahead and use hot glue. Hot glue is safe to put on your oven, in your oven at a very low setting, and so we don't want any toxic fumes emitting from our oven that may be hazardous. Okay, so only hot glue. Okay, so for this part, all we're doing is we are measuring our cardboard, okay, our USPS boxes, or our repurposing our Amazon boxes, and we're measuring them and we're cutting them to fit over those spaces. All right, you are going to cut with your X-Acto knife some lines, or some notches, I guess, through the cardboard. You are going to cut that because we want it to curve. And it's a lot easier to curve if you cut those lines. You don't want to cut all the way through your cardboard, but you do want to go ahead and cut those lines. So you'll see me do that periodically throughout the video. All right. And you just want to continue this process. I will say, if you're planning on making multiple of these, you could do a couple things. You could purchase a template that I have on my Etsy shop, or you can go ahead and cut multiple so you'll have them ready when it's time to make these. Okay, so you just want to go ahead and continue that. Use those boxes, they're free on the USPS website, and then hot glue this onto your plastic piece. Okay, so that is, I would say, one of the most tedious parts of this tutorial. It's, just about making sure that fit is right, making sure that you kind of trim away any of the hot glue that may be poking out, okay? And then after you do that, you need to go ahead and seal the bottom. Um, you want to cut another piece of cardboard in a circle, and you're going to repeat the process basically. Getting cardboard to fit by any means necessary, I will say. And then, any spaces that you have, you can go ahead and cover up with hot glue. And then if it oozes out a little bit, once it dries, go ahead and just trim it away. Okay. And once you finish that, you'll see that I went ahead and used some air dry clay. Premier Air Dry Clay is one of my favorite brands to work with. I just love how it is just pretty easy to work with. But I went ahead and used that to kind of smooth out some of the joints before I added my oven baked clay. Okay, but that's totally up to you and what you decide to do. But the main point is, you don't want to have to work so hard with your clay. You want to be able to go ahead and have a pretty smooth surface before adding your oven baked clay. Okay, so this is the tumbler after it has been baked in the oven. I baked it on my lowest setting, which was 170 for my oven. Okay, and I went ahead and baked it for about 30 minutes or so on my bottom rack. All right, but go ahead and make sure if you're going to do this, because it is plastic, that you go ahead and bake it at your lowest setting, whatever that is for your oven. All right, and then you're going to go ahead and let it cool. If you are not going to be glittering this and you are happy with your color of your clay, then you just want to sand this lightly to go ahead and smooth out any bumpy parts. But honestly, if you are going to be adding any glitter to it, which that's what I did, glitter is a great way to camouflage any imperfections. Okay, so you just want to go ahead and buff it out if you're not going to be doing any glitter. But if you are, go ahead and get your Mod Podge and go ahead and get your glitter and go ahead and glitter it. Okay, I went ahead and glittered this gold, and then I went ahead and sprayed it with spray paint, believe it or not. And the color that I used was called Warm Caramel. It is by Rust-Oleum. I went ahead and used a very light stroke just to kind of get a light coverage, just because I did not have the glitter color that I was looking for this gingerbread tree. Okay, again, it's called Warm Caramel. It will be linked in the description bar as well. Okay, but if you're at your Home Depot store or Lowe's, go ahead and pick one up if you're looking for this type of color. Okay, so I'm just using some copper paint here, and I am using my paintbrush to get inside of this topper. I plan to glitter it gold and seal this in with epoxy. Okay, so I'm using this copper paint as a really good coverage so that you don't see that cardboard, and I don't think you're going to really be able to camouflage the black frame as much, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on the outside of the topper. Okay, so this is the lightning cure epoxy everybody has been going crazy about. If you have not, seen it on social media, then just go on social media. You'll see it all over TikTok. And the reason why I feel like everybody's going crazy about it is because it really is like lightning fast. There's a lot of fast setting resins out on the market, but I have never found one that actually cures in this short amount of time. I mean, imagine the projects that you can do. That's one thing that we all can't get back is time, right? So it's absolutely wonderful. I'm still like in shock of how fast this cures and how they were able to do it. The packaging does say that it's FDA compliant, and so I haven't had any issues. I'm loving it so far. Go ahead and try it out. This video is not sponsored in any way, but I am actually recommending this product because it works very well. The only thing I would say that I don't particularly care for, or I wish they had, which would be a bigger container, so I could have fewer, I could order fewer shipments per se. Okay, but all you're gonna do is mix A and B for about a minute or less, if I'm being honest. There's no real bubbles, there's no smell. You do need to label. As you can see, my measuring cups, I labeled the bottom because A and B pretty much have the same color, and you may forget. So I labeled the bottom of mine, but then you're just going to go ahead and mix it and then just apply it to your cup. So in comparison to some other brands of epoxy or fast curing epoxy that I have used, this is very thin. Um, it is not too thin to where you have to add multiple layers, but it is on the thinner side of some of the other fast setting resins. Okay, but literally in 20 minutes, I think I was on live with in my group, and in 20 minutes or less, this was actually dry to the touch, and I was able to go ahead with my next step. Okay, and my next step was to go ahead and decorate, which is my favorite part. Oh my gosh, I'm quite sure decorating gingerbread houses or trees is your favorite part too. Um, but I'm using that Premier air dry clay. You could probably use anything. To be honest, if you're gonna get this lightning cured epoxy, you probably don't even need to add clay. I was concerned about controlling the drip. I didn't want it to drip down too far, so I kind of decided to use clay. All right, and I'm gonna add it to the tip of this hat, and then I'm going to add some of that swag. Okay, but to go ahead and add it to the tip, and how I make the icing look is I kind of just roll out little tiny balls of clay, and then I add it to the top and push down. And that's how I can get a nice icing look per se, as if it's just kind of dripping over the tip of this topper. Okay, so this again is Model Magic, and it is put in a mold that you can get from Michael's in the cake decorating aisle. And all I'm doing is, I press it in with my rolling pin, then I'm taking my scissors and I'm just going to trim away the excess. And I continue to do that, for the amount of these that I need. And then I'm going to hot glue it onto my topper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up that part. Okay, so I'm taking some hot glue and I'm just adding it to the back of this swag and pressing it into my topper. I'm going to continue to do that all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the peppermints on the in between each one of these. Okay, so the air dry clay at the top there, and the swag, you know, those swoops, each clay is a different color. And I'm a little OCD about stuff like that. Like one is cream and one is white. So I had to paint the top white, and now I'm painting this one white as well, just so they match, okay? And when I seal it all together, it'll look cohesive. So that's what you see me doing there. But it's coming out very nicely, if I might say myself. I am going to paint this white and then seal all of this together. Then I'm going to go ahead and glitter the inside. I didn't want to glitter the inside beforehand, and that's because I didn't want to get any glitter on the outside. And if I do still get some glitter on the outside, being that it's epoxied, I can go ahead and brush it off easily. I'm not worried about it sticking to the air dry clay. Okay, so you see me here with my little paintbrush, making sure that it matches. And you can kind of see a distinct difference between the Model Magic color and this white paint. Okay, so I guess don't be afraid to add some extra details just to kind of make this even cuter. Okay, and then after I paint this white, I'm gonna go ahead and let it dry, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add some more air dry clay as the icing right where my hand is. So you'll see me do that as well. Okay, so I'm taking some water to kind of smooth this out and get it kind of how I want it. That's the great thing about it. Do know that um, you can use water for your air dry clay like Premier, DOS, Sculpey, but for your Model Magic, you can't. Okay, so although a lot of these brands say air dry clay, you can't use water to smooth out. Well, I haven't had success with using water to smooth out my Model Magic, okay? But because this is already epoxied, and you see how the air dry clay is kind of getting, um, on that gingerbread color, I'll be able to wipe it right off. So that's why I say go ahead and seal it in first, because when you seal it in, you'll be good to go. Um, and I take my paintbrush and make sure all the parts are smooth, just clean off, um, you know, the excess clay. And again, I have to paint this white, but then I am done with the outside. I think it came together really nice, and I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to glitter the inside once it's finished. Okay, so the next part is pretty self-explanatory. All I am doing is adding some Mod Podge, and I'm going to use my paintbrush to kind of make sure I get in between all of the little joints, and I'm going to go ahead and paint it gold, okay? I am then going to take this outside and spray it with my Rust-Oleum Clear to seal in the glitter, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use the Resin Store's Lightning Cure Epoxy to go ahead and seal in the glitter. Okay, so I'm getting my drill. I'm starting with a smaller drill bit, and I'm just going slow to go ahead and break that cast of epoxy on the outside and the inside. And once it goes through, I'm gonna go ahead and take my bigger drill bit to create the straw hole. Okay, so once I drill the hole, you see me going around and around. That is to create a bigger hole. Okay, and then I'm just taking my handy dandy nail clippers and I am cutting away the excess. You know, you also want to take your drill and lean it up, you know, to kind of elongate the hole. And that's just to make sure that your topper has an easy access for the straw. Okay, but once you get your straw hole drilled out, you're going to take your sanding tool and then just sand away the excess. Okay, and just to make sure everything was sealed in properly, and all this glitter was sealed in, and this new straw hole that I just drilled was sealed in as well, you know, in between that cardboard, I'm going ahead and adding another layer of epoxy with my paintbrush, a very thin layer, to be honest with you, and I'm just really focusing in on that area of the straw hole. Okay, I really wanted to make sure that it was completely sealed in, so if any water gets into your topper, your lid with your topper attached, you don't have to worry about anything coming apart because it's all sealed in with your FDA compliant resin. Okay, and our last step is to go ahead and seal in the outside of this topper. Again, with the same epoxy, we're just going on the outside, and we're going to make sure we seal that straw hole as well. Okay, so we're doing this with the same batch of epoxy. You seal the inside where you drilled the straw hole, and then you go on the outside and you're going to seal that all in. Okay, I'm paying close attention to where you put your hot glue. Although hot glue is, I feel like, really permanent, I love to go over all the little nooks and crannies with my epoxy just to make sure that nothing's going to come apart. You know, they can, if they, you know, they shouldn't drop it, but if it does drop, you're not going to have to worry about a piece falling off. drum roll please. Brrr. The last and final step we're gonna do is we're gonna add this to our lid. Okay, I am so happy with the way it's coming out. All I have to do now is make sure that my straw hole lines up on my lid and my topper. Okay, you see me holding it with one hand here, and then all I'm going to use is hot glue, my hot glue gun, and I am going to add a little bead of hot glue on each side just to kind of hold it in place. All right, because once it's in place, then I'll be able to really make sure that that hot glue is everywhere it needs to be. Okay, we're just going to seal that in. And once you seal it in, you'll have the option to either paint it, glitter it, meaning camouflage your hot glue with paint or glitter. Or what I wind up doing is taking some air dry clay and adding it at the bottom to look like more icing. I didn't really want a gap between the tumbler and the topper, so I went ahead and added some more icing on to the bottom of the topper. Okay, but it's up to you. You guys can decide what you want to do. If you're watching this on YouTube and you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment. I invite you to join my Patreon group. The link is right there in the description bar. We have a lot of fun. We're creating a lot of different things, and I know you will love it. But if you're watching this and you're in the group, don't forget to watch the hack that I told you about the lid. Okay, it is in the guide section. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. All right, and if you make one, please go ahead and tag me on social media. I would love to see it, and I will talk to you guys next time.